More breaking news this morning. Israel calling for an investigation after an Al Jazeera reporter was shot and killed today. This happened during an Israeli raid in the occupied West Bank. Tom Perry is in London, and he's here with us for the latest breaking developments. Tom.
Well, there's video from Jenin in the West Bank that's been circulating, and it shows the moments after Shireen Abu Akleh was shot. She's the Al Jazeera journalist. In the video, you can hear gunfire, you can hear shouting, and then you see two figures. Both are wearing blue helmets, blue flak jackets with press written across the front. One is standing and the other is lying face down on the ground. And that person is the veteran Al Jazeera journalist, Abu Akleh. She'd been shot in the head. Abu Akleh was a veteran reporter. She'd worked for Al Jazeera since 1997. She was well known in the Arab world, and she was covering Israeli raids on the West Bank in the town of Jenin. Israeli forces have been very active there lately. There's been a surge in deadly attacks, Palestinian attacks against Israelis. Al Jazeera, however, blames Israel for killing its journalist. Here's what a spokesperson for the network had to say today.
We see this as intentional targeting of Al Jazeera and its journalists to prevent them from conducting their duties and reporting to the world what's happening on the ground.
So that's Al Jazeera's take. They say this was a case of blatant murder and a cold-blooded assassination.
And Tom, I mentioned Israel calling for an investigation. What else is Israel saying at this point?
Well, the Israeli military says its troops shot back after they came under what they're calling massive fire. And we have heard from a spokesperson from Israel's foreign ministry. Let's listen to that.
Saddened by the death of senior Al Jazeera correspondent Shireen Abu Akleh during heavy exchange of fire amidst a military counter-terrorism operation in Jenin. Free press is fundamental for Israel and for all democracies, and as such, journalists must be protected. There are indications that Ms. Abu Akleh was killed by Palestinian terrorists' fire. Israel will be conducting a thorough investigation. We call on the Palestinian Authority to cooperate with this investigation.
So that's what Israel is saying. It's offering a joint investigation by Israeli authorities and Palestinian authorities. Now, we've heard from the head of Reporters Without Borders. He's tweeted that there has to be an independent international investigation into this incident. Should point out that Abu Akleh held American citizenship. The U.S. ambassador to Israel today said he was saddened to hear of her death, that he encouraged a thorough investigation. And Canada's ambassador to Israel tweeted out that she was shocked to hear of Abu Akleh's death, that she welcomed Israel's offer of a joint investigation with the Palestinians, and that the safety of journalists must be protected.
Tom, thank you for all of that. Breaking news out of London, our Tom Perry today.